It was a sunny afternoon in New York City's Central Park, and the park was buzzing with activity. Families picnicked on the grass, joggers ran along the paths, and a small crowd had gathered near a gazebo where a young man was preparing to speak. That young man was none other than Barron Trump. Dressed casually in a polo shirt and jeans, Barron stood behind a simple podium, ready to share his thoughts on a community project he was passionate about. The crowd murmured with anticipation as Barron began to speak. His voice was calm and steady, reflecting his genuine commitment to the cause. "Thank you all for being here today," he started. "I'm excited to share how we can work together to improve our community." Suddenly, a voice from the back of the crowd interrupted him. "Why should we listen to you?" A man stepped forward, his expression filled with disdain. He was a well-known liberal activist, known for his outspoken views. "You're just another privileged kid trying to play hero. What do you know about real struggles?" The crowd gasped, and all eyes turned to Barron. The tension was palpable, and a hush fell over the park. Everyone was waiting to see how Barron would respond to the unexpected confrontation. The activist's words hung in the air, challenging Barron's sincerity and intentions. Barron took a deep breath, his eyes meeting the activist's gaze. Instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, he maintained his composure. "I understand your concerns," he said calmly. "It's true, I come from a position of privilege, but that doesn't mean I don't care about the struggles people face. I believe that everyone, regardless of their background, can make a positive impact." The crowd watched in awe as Barron continued, his voice unwavering. "I'm here today because I want to learn from this community and work alongside all of you to create meaningful change. This isn't about me, it's about us and what we can achieve together." The activist seemed taken aback by Barron's response. His aggressive stance softened slightly as he listened to the young man's words. The crowd, too, felt a shift in the atmosphere. What had started as a potential conflict was turning into an unexpected moment of connection and understanding. Barron's genuine humility and commitment to the cause resonated with the audience. The park, which had been filled with tension just moments before, now felt like a place of possibility and hope. The young man's words had not only diffused the situation, but had also inspired those who had come to listen. As Barron continued his speech, the crowd remained attentive, their curiosity piqued by the young man's grace under pressure. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a powerful lesson in kindness, empathy, and the impact of genuine intentions. Before the confrontation in Central Park, Barron's journey had been one of quiet determination and genuine compassion. While many knew him as the son of a prominent figure, those who had worked closely with him understood that his motivations ran much deeper. Barron had always been drawn to community service. He believed in the power of collective action and the impact of small, consistent efforts to bring about meaningful change. It wasn't about seeking recognition or fame. It was about making a difference in the lives of those around him. Several months prior, Barron had stumbled upon a community project aimed at revitalizing a neglected neighborhood park. The project involved cleaning up litter, planting trees, and creating safe play areas for children. The park had once been a vibrant hub for the local community, but years of neglect had taken their toll. Moved by the potential to restore the park to its former glory, Barron decided to get involved. He attended planning meetings, rolled up his sleeves, and worked alongside volunteers from all walks of life. His humility and willingness to get his hands dirty earned him the respect of the project's leaders and participants. Barron's dedication didn't stop at physical labor. He also used his platform to raise awareness and funds for the project. He organized events, reached out to local businesses for support, and even spoke at schools to inspire students to join the cause. His passion was contagious, and soon the project began to gain momentum. Despite his efforts, Barron remained humble and focused on the task at hand. He understood that true change required collaboration and persistence. He listened to the concerns of the community, sought their input, and made sure that their voices were heard. It was this genuine approach that endeared him to those he worked with. The day of the speech in Central Park was meant to be a celebration of the progress they had made. Barron was excited to share the successes and to thank everyone who had contributed to the project. He wanted to highlight the power of unity and the positive impact they had achieved together. As he stood before the crowd, Barron's thoughts were on the community he had come to care deeply about. He hoped that his words would inspire others to continue their efforts and to believe in the possibility of positive change. Little did he know, his resolve and humility would soon be tested in a way that would leave a lasting impression on everyone present. Barron's background in community service was a testament to his character. It was a journey of kindness, empathy, and a genuine desire to make a difference. And as the crowd in Central Park awaited his speech, they were about to witness the strength of his convictions in the face of adversity. As the crowd in Central Park focused on Barron Trump, another figure stood in the shadows, filled with a mix of frustration and determination. His name was Jake, a passionate liberal activist known for his strong opinions and unyielding stance on social issues. Jake had dedicated his life to advocating for equality and justice, often using his voice to challenge those in positions of power. Jake's journey had been one of struggle and perseverance. He had grown up in a lower-income neighborhood, witnessing firsthand the disparities and injustices that plagued his community. These experiences had shaped his worldview and fueled his desire to fight for change. He had spent years organizing protests, rallying for various causes, and speaking out against systemic issues. As Jake made his way to Central Park that day, he carried the weight of his convictions with him. He had heard about Barron Trump's involvement in the community project, and he couldn't shake the feeling of skepticism. With each step, Jake's determination grew. He believed that real change required voices from the ground up, not from those who had never experienced hardship. As he approached the crowd gathered around the gazebo, he felt a surge of anger and frustration. To him, Barron's speech felt like an attempt to play the hero, without truly understanding the realities of the people he claimed to help. Jake pushed through the crowd, his mind racing with thoughts of his own experiences and the countless stories of those he had met along the way. He was tired of seeing well-intentioned efforts from privileged individuals that often failed to address the root causes of inequality. He wanted to challenge Barron, to make him see that words were not enough. Real change required deeper understanding and commitment. As he reached the front of the crowd, Jake's eyes locked onto Barron, who was speaking with a calm and sincere demeanor. The sight only fueled Jake's frustration. He couldn't stand by and watch without voicing his concerns. With a deep breath, he interrupted Barron's speech, his voice ringing out with a challenge that echoed through the park. "Why should we listen to you?" Jake demanded, his voice filled with emotion. "You're just another privileged kid trying to play hero. What do you know about real struggles?" The crowd turned their attention to Jake, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Jake's heart pounded as he waited for Barron's response. He hoped that his words would spark a moment of realization, that they would force Barron to confront the realities of the world beyond his privilege. In that moment, Jake's perspective was shaped by a lifetime of experiences and a burning desire for justice. He believed that true change could only come from those who had lived through the struggles and understood them deeply. Little did he know, his challenge would set the stage for an unexpected and transformative encounter. Back in Central Park, the atmosphere was charged with tension as the activists' challenge hung in the air. The crowd, which had gathered to hear Barron Trump speak about the community project, now watched intently, their curiosity piqued by the unexpected confrontation. Barron took a deep breath, maintaining his composure as he faced Jake, the passionate activist who had interrupted his speech. The young man's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with Jake's intense expression. The crowd waited in silence, eager to see how Barron would respond. With a steady voice, Barron addressed Jake's challenge. "I understand your frustration," he began, his tone respectful and sincere. "It's true that I come from a place of privilege, and I can never fully understand the struggles you've faced, but that doesn't mean I don't care. I'm here because I believe we can make a difference together, regardless of our backgrounds." Jake's eyes narrowed, his skepticism still evident. "Words are easy, but actions speak louder," he retorted. "What have you actually done to help this community? What do you know about our challenges?" Barron nodded, acknowledging the validity of Jake's questions. "You're right," he replied. "Actions do matter. Over the past few months, I've been working alongside the community to clean up and revitalize this park. I've attended planning meetings, participated in cleanup efforts, and raised funds to support the project. But more importantly, I've listened to the people who live here and tried to understand their needs." The crowd murmured in response, impressed by Barron's efforts. Jake, however, remained unconvinced. "That's a start, but it's not enough," he said, his voice tinged with frustration. "You can't just swoop in and fix things with a few volunteer hours and some money. Real change requires a deeper understanding and commitment." Barron met Jake's gaze, his expression earnest. "I agree," he said. "Real change does require a long-term commitment and a willingness to learn. I'm not here to impose solutions, but to work with the community and support their efforts. I know I have a lot to learn, and I'm here to listen and grow alongside everyone else." As the confrontation continued, the crowd watched with rapt attention. Some were moved by Barron's humility and genuine desire to make a difference, while others sympathized with Jake's skepticism and passion for justice. The tension in the air was palpable, but there was also a sense of possibility, a chance for understanding and connection. Jake, sensing the sincerity in Barron's words, began to waver. His initial anger and frustration were slowly giving way to a grudging respect. He had expected a defensive response, but Barron's humility and willingness to listen had taken him by surprise. The park, which had been a scene of potential conflict, now felt like a space for dialogue and growth. The confrontation between Barron and Jake had revealed the complexity of their perspectives, but it had also opened the door to a deeper conversation about empathy, understanding, and the power of collective action. As the crowd waited for what would come next, they knew that this moment was just the beginning. The confrontation had set the stage for a transformative journey, one that would challenge and inspire everyone involved. The crowd in Central Park held their breath as they awaited Barron's next words. The confrontation with Jake had brought a palpable tension to the air, and everyone was eager to see how the young man would handle the situation. Barron took a moment to gather his thoughts, his eyes reflecting a depth of understanding and empathy. He knew that this was a pivotal moment, not just for him, but for the entire community gathered before him. With a calm and steady voice, he addressed Jake directly. "I appreciate your passion and dedication to the cause," Barron began, his tone sincere. "It's clear that you care deeply about this community and the challenges it faces, and I respect that. We need voices like yours to keep us accountable and to remind us of the work that still needs to be done." Jake's expression softened slightly, taken aback by Barron's respectful acknowledgement. The crowd, too, sensed the genuine connection being formed between the two young men. Barron continued, "I understand that my background may make it difficult for some to believe in my intentions, but I want you to know that I'm committed to this project and to learning from the community. I believe that we can achieve more together than we ever could apart." He paused, letting his words sink in. The tension in the air began to dissipate as the crowd listened intently. Barron's humility and sincerity were evident, and it was clear that he was not just speaking for himself, but for the collective effort of everyone involved in the project. "I don't have all the answers," Barron admitted, "but I'm here to listen, to learn, and to support. I want to work alongside you, and I'm open to your ideas and feedback. Real change requires all of us, and I'm committed to doing my part." The crowd began to nod in agreement, their initial skepticism giving way to admiration and respect. Barron's words had struck a chord, resonating with the shared desire for positive change and unity. Jake, feeling the weight of the moment, realized that his preconceived notions about Barron might not be entirely fair. He saw the young man's genuine desire to make a difference and felt a shift in his own perspective. With a deep breath, Jake responded, his voice softer now. "Maybe I was too quick to judge," he admitted. "I've seen a lot of people talk about change without understanding what it really means, but your willingness to listen and learn, that's something I can respect." Barron smiled, relief and gratitude evident on his face. "Thank you, Jake," he said. "I look forward to working with you and learning from your experiences. Together, we can make a real impact." The crowd erupted in applause, the tension fully replaced by a sense of unity and hope. The confrontation, which had initially seemed like a clash of opposing forces, had transformed into a powerful moment of connection and mutual respect. As Barron and Jake shook hands, the crowd felt inspired by their example. It was a reminder that even in the face of differences, empathy and understanding could pave the way for meaningful collaboration and positive change. The park, now filled with a renewed sense of purpose, became a symbol of what could be achieved when people came together with open hearts and minds. And as Barron continued his speech, the crowd listened with a newfound sense of belief in the power of kindness and unity. As the applause died down, Jake found himself standing amidst the crowd, contemplating Barron's words. The young man's humility and genuine desire to learn had struck a chord, challenging Jake's initial assumptions. The confrontation that had begun with animosity was now shifting towards mutual understanding. Jake watched as Barron continued to speak, addressing the crowd with a renewed sense of purpose. The activist felt a pang of regret for his earlier outburst, recognizing that his own frustrations had clouded his judgment. He had been so focused on challenging the perceived privilege that he hadn't taken the time to see the sincerity in Barron's actions. Reflecting on his journey, Jake realized that his passion for social justice had sometimes led him to view people through a narrow lens. He had always believed that true change required voices from those who had experienced hardship firsthand. But in Barron, he saw someone who, despite his privileged background, was genuinely committed to making a positive impact. Feeling the weight of his own realizations, Jake decided to approach Barron once more. As Barron finished speaking, the activist stepped forward, his demeanor noticeably softer. The crowd, sensing another significant moment, turned their attention to the two young men. "Barron," Jake began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've spent my life fighting for justice and equality, and sometimes that passion blinds me to the good intentions of others. I misjudged you, and for that, I'm sorry." The crowd murmured in response, their admiration for Jake's honesty evident. Barron looked at him, his eyes reflecting a mixture of understanding and gratitude. "Thank you, Jake," he replied. "I appreciate your willingness to see things from a different perspective. We need voices like yours to keep us grounded and focused on what truly matters." Jake nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. The tension that had initially defined their encounter was now replaced by a shared commitment to the greater good. The crowd, witnessing this powerful moment of reconciliation, felt inspired by the example set by the two young men. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Barron and Jake stood together, united by a common goal. The activist realized that true change required collaboration, empathy, and an open mind. It was a lesson that resonated deeply with him, challenging his own preconceptions and strengthening his resolve to work towards a better future. The crowd, too, felt the impact of this transformative encounter. The park, which had been a place of potential conflict, now felt like a sanctuary of understanding and connection. The story of Barron and Jake's confrontation would be retold, not as a tale of division, but as a testament to the power of empathy and the possibility of change. As the evening drew to a close, Jake knew that his journey as an activist had taken a new direction. He had learned that even in the face of differences, there was room for dialogue and growth, and with that newfound perspective, he felt ready to continue his work, inspired by the example set by a young man who had shown him the true meaning of kindness and humility. The day's events had left a lasting impression on everyone present, reminding them that, at its core, humanity was bound by a shared desire for understanding and positive change, and in that moment, Central Park became a symbol of hope, unity, and the enduring power of compassion. As the golden hues of the setting sun bathed Central Park in a warm glow, the crowd continued to buzz with the energy of the day's events. Jake, the activist, stood amongst the onlookers, his mind swirling with newfound realizations. The encounter with Barron had challenged his perspective in ways he hadn't anticipated. Feeling a sense of responsibility, Jake knew that he needed to address the crowd. He stepped forward, his heart pounding as he prepared to speak. The gathered audience, sensing another significant moment, turned their attention to him, eager to hear what he had to say. With a deep breath, Jake began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "I owe all of you, and especially Barron, an apology," he said, his gaze shifting to meet Barron's eyes. "Earlier today, I acted out of frustration and judgment. I let my own biases cloud my perception, and for that, I am truly sorry." The crowd listened intently, their expressions reflecting a mix of admiration and empathy. Jake continued, "Barron has shown a genuine commitment to this community, and his willingness to listen and learn is something we should all respect. It's easy to judge someone based on their background, but it's far more important to recognize their actions and intentions." Barron, standing a few steps away, felt a wave of respect for Jake's courage to admit his mistake publicly. He nodded in acknowledgement, his expression one of understanding and gratitude. Jake's voice grew stronger as he spoke, his words resonating with the crowd. "We all have a role to play in creating positive change," he said, "and that starts with empathy and understanding. We need to support one another, learn from each other, and work together towards our common goals." The crowd erupted in applause, the sound echoing through the park. It was a powerful moment of unity, a testament to the strength of humility and the power of reconciliation. Jake felt a sense of relief, knowing that his words had been received with open hearts. Barron stepped forward, his smile warm and genuine. "Thank you, Jake," he said. "Your apology means a lot to me, and I appreciate your willingness to see things from a different perspective. We can achieve so much more when we work together, and I'm excited to continue this journey with you and everyone here." The two young men shook hands, their gesture symbolizing a newfound partnership built on mutual respect and shared goals. The crowd, moved by the example set before them, felt inspired to carry the lessons of the day forward in their own lives. As the evening light faded, the atmosphere in Central Park remained vibrant with hope and possibility. The public apology had not only mended the rift between Barron and Jake, but had also reinforced the importance of empathy, understanding, and the collective power of kindness. The day's events would be remembered as a turning point, a reminder that even in moments of conflict, there was always an opportunity for growth and connection. And as Barron and Jake stood side by side, they knew that their journey had only just begun, fueled by the shared commitment to making a positive impact in their community. The park, once a place of potential division, had become a symbol of unity and collaboration. The story of that day would be retold as an inspiring example of what could be achieved when people came together with open hearts and minds, ready to listen, learn, and make a difference. As the night descended upon Central Park, the day's events left a lasting impression on everyone present. The confrontation between Barron Trump and Jake had transformed from a moment of tension into an inspiring display of empathy and understanding. The park, now illuminated by the soft glow of streetlights, felt like a sanctuary of unity and hope. Barron and Jake stood side by side, reflecting on the significance of the day's events. The young activist had come to realize that true change required open hearts and minds, and Barron had shown him the power of humility and collaboration. The crowd, moved by the example set before them, began to disperse, their hearts filled with a renewed sense of purpose. As Barron prepared to leave, he looked around at the faces of those who had gathered. He saw hope, determination, and a shared commitment to making a difference. "Thank you all for being here today," he said, his voice carrying a sense of gratitude. "Together, we can achieve great things. Let's continue to support one another and work towards a better future." Jake nodded, his expression one of newfound respect. "We all have a role to play," he added. "Let's use our voices, our actions, and our hearts to create positive change. This is just the beginning." The crowd erupted in applause, a final celebration of the unity and understanding that had been forged that day. As Barron and Jake shook hands once more, they knew that their journey was far from over. They were now partners in the pursuit of a common goal, bound by the shared belief in the power of kindness and empathy. As the last of the crowd dispersed, Barron walked through the park, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. The day's events had reminded him of the importance of staying true to his values and continuing to listen, learn, and grow. He was inspired by the community's response and was determined to carry the lessons of that day forward in his efforts. Jake, too, felt a sense of renewal. The encounter with Barron had challenged his perspective and reminded him of the importance of approaching every situation with an open mind and heart. He knew that his journey as an activist would be enriched by the lessons he had learned and the connections he had made. As they both headed home, the park stood as a symbol of the potential for positive change. The story of Barron and Jake's confrontation and subsequent reconciliation would be retold, serving as a reminder that even in moments of conflict, there was always room for growth, understanding, and unity. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey. Remember, true change begins with empathy and understanding. Let this story motivate you to approach each day with an open heart and a commitment to making a positive impact. Share your own acts of kindness and collaboration with us, and together, let's create a ripple effect of positivity and unity. Subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories and be part of the movement to spread compassion and hope. Star.